We begin with our Kaise Bole feature or Kaise Bole segment. How do you say this in Hindustani? Kaise Bole basil Hindustani mein. So there are different types of basil. The most common locally, we know holy basil, but there are other types of basil here in Trinidad and Tobago as well, which we'd soon find out. But I was delighted to see the expected response, Tulsi. But there's always so much more that we're exposed to through comments coming in from those outside of Trinidad and Tobago. For example, Navin Viraj Singh, who says in Fiji there's the cooking basil, which they call dauna, and holy basil, which is used for prayers or rituals, known as the tulsi. Sudhir Sharma, also from Fiji, small tulsi, he says, which is generally found in many Hindu homes. You'll find it in their yards. So it's also a repellent. But the dhauna is the edible tulsi, and the edible basil, sorry, and the small tulsi is specifically for rituals. So, Vinay, let's start with you. Basil.
Yeah, so lots of people mention that, the term Tulsi is typically referred to for the holy Tulsi. And then the only other distinction that some people commented was Christian Ki Tulsi or Christian Tulsi, which is sort of like the more purple colored Tulsi that people also grow and they use for their pujas and stuff as well. And Tulsi, we hear in a lot of bhajans and film songs, and one very common one that I think a lot of people would know is the old Bollywood song "Main Tulsi Tere Aangan Ki." Main Tulsi Tere Aangan Ki, which means I'm the Tulsi plant, or I'm the Tulsi growing in your courtyard or in your courtyard. And so that's a very popular song that uses the word for reference.
As per the R.S. McGregor dictionary, when you look at Tulsi, I think it gives it as a specific species of holy basil. In my garden, I usually plant the green basil, which is pesto sauce they use for in Italian cooking. And then there's a Thai basil, which looks like the green basil, um, that was also used in cooking. So I would suspect the dhauna used referred to by the Fijians from Fiji bat would be those two basils, or at least the regular one, and the tulsi is specifically the holy basil.
But it's interesting to note that Sudhir mentioned that the small tulsi is specifically for rituals. The edible tulsi will be used, the edible basil will be used for brewing and eating and everything else. All right, so thank you all very, very much for your comments. We move on to another Trinidad Bhojpuri word, and a very simple one, and a very short one, BAABAA. So let's go to Vinay for your definition of BAABAA.
Yes, I really love the engagement for this word. Some people, I noticed that some Muslim people said that they've heard people refer to their father as Baba. And then some Hindu people commented and said, well, Baba is a pundit. And then some other people mentioned that they would call, an older man in general Baba as a way to give them, a sign of respect. And some people also said that they would use it jokingly to refer to someone if they were acting elderly, and they would just call them Baba as like a name. So it's really nice to see all of the different uses of it. So there's the context of using it in a humorous way or to give respect, or then in a more religious context, refer to your pundit as Baba. And when people do that, oftentimes they're using Baba almost synonymously with how they refer to a godfather. But I think people who are fans of traditional chutney music would think about the song Nanda Baba, which in Trinidad was very highly popularized by Anand Yankaran. And if people know the meaning of that song, it's about the birth of Lord Krishna. So they refer to Nanda as Nanda Baba, because Nanda was the adoptive father of Lord Krishna. So you see it used in that context as a title for a father.
There we go. So Dabindranath Hardial, thank you so much for participating. He said, my Aja, we used to call him Baba. We used to call our Aji Daddy. Rashida Hanif also said respect for father, pundit, or godfather with the comments coming in. So thank you very much, Vinay, and thank you for participating in Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and Phrase. And on that note of a phrase, let's move on to Trinidad Bhojpuri phrase, DEKH, Ganesh ki Baryat Awela. DEKH, Ganesh ke Baryat Awela. But it's more like DEKH, Ganesh ke Baryat Awela. This, of course, goes so well with this season, the celebration that we're in, which is Ganesh Utsav. So let me once again go to Vinay. So Vinay, Baryat, that's a new one for some people.
Yeah, so I was very excited to see the engagement for this term, because let's just go ahead and break down the phrase segment by segment. DEKH, which means is a command saying to look at something, DEKH. Ganesh ke Baryat would literally translate to the procession of Ganesh, or Lord Ganesh's procession. Ganesh obviously being shorthand for Ganesh Utsav. So Ganesh ke Baryat Awela, meaning the procession of Ganesh, or the Ganesh Utsav procession is coming. So that's a very useful term for when, they're bringing the murti around for villages for darshan, or they bring it around again before Visarjan. You could always look to your neighbor and say, DEKH Ganesh ke Baryat Awela. The procession is coming. And now the reason why we wanted to test the Baryat is because that's a word I've heard used by older Trinidadian and older Guyanese people. And they use it instead of common word that we hear now, Barat, and people know Barat to mean, the procession of people or partygoers in a wedding, specifically a Hindu wedding, who will go with the groom or the dulaha as he's going to the mara or the mandap. And so you can see that it's a procession for a wedding, but it also has a general meaning that you could use in other contexts. So rather than being a wedding barat, it could be a Ganesh Baryat or a Ganesh Barat.
Sudhir says, yes, Baryat, procession, Barat, or Jalus, they would say in Fiji. So they would say, Dekho, Ganesh Bhagwan ke Jalus aaye hai. But Dr. Bhima, let's just take a look at that word Ganesh. So I'm thinking that's where a name would actually be appropriate, someone's name, Ganesh.
Yes, so the standard Hindi is Ganesh, and in Bhojpuri, specifically Trinidad Bhojpuri, Isha becomes Sa, so Ganesh becomes Ganesh. And that is quite a popular name in the diaspora.
Have we ever come across Jalus here in Trinidad?
I know Jalus is a Hindi word. Often you'd find, because Fiji Bath is more Awadhi, they tend to use more Hindi words, because Awadhi is more related to Hindi than Bhojpuri. So I never heard a Trinidad Bhojpuri speaker use that word.
Let's move on to another Trinidad Bhojpuri word, JATAHAA. All right, so this was an interesting one for me because we had a varied contextual use, I suppose, but let's just go through some of the comments. A piece of wood to pelt mangoes, and pelt is what we would say here if you just got to, throw something at something else. So a piece of wood to pelt mangoes, or an old-time way of putting a fruit picker together. I also came across gullet and cocoa knife. All right, so Dr. Bhima, let's go over to you for this one. JATAHAA.
I think reflecting back to Bollywood movies and certain scenes in productions from India, you tend to see boys, when they reflect the story of Krishna, taking a stick and pelting a stick, throwing it like a javelin to pelt fruits. So I think that would be the context of usage there. Most of the comments, I think, had said using a stick to pelt, but me growing up, I know, and even Helen Meyer's references to a stick to pelt. Not Helen Meyer, sorry. Liz Weiner from the Trinidad Creole Dictionary, English Creole. From the context of the gullet, which I know is the same stick, but you attach this, which I guess we will discover recently. English is cocoa knife. I always thought it shaped like a bird head to pick. So you're not pelting, you're actually using that now with the hook to pull the stem of the fruit to pick it. I mean, because it serves the same purpose, I guess. JATAHA, which was originally known to be a stick to pelt the fruit down, because it serves the same purpose of picking the fruit. You would use it in the same context of the same stick, I guess, with that cocoa knife attached to the end, which I think is more of a 20th century invention.
Uh-huh. Okay, right. Well, there were two elderly gentlemen who came over, two barbers came over to our home yesterday, and that was a conversation about the Jataha. They both said the same thing, a gullet, which is also known as a cocoa knife. So thank you very much. And let's wrap up with our Trinidad Bhojpuri word for food, or food-related Trinidad Bhojpuri word. Well, a combination of two words, actually. Bhoonjal, MAKAI. And Bhoonjal, we've done this so many times. And MAKAI, well, that was easy because I think everybody got this one right yesterday. Vinay, Bhoonjal, MAKAI?
Yeah, so with Bhunjal Makai, we had the opportunity to combine two words, as you said, that we've done in various forms before, but to bring them together and see people's understanding. And many people correctly commented roast corn, which is a popular, snack food or something you'll have with your dinner or whenever you're going out for lime or something. And to kind of break it down, a lot of people know bhunjal. They know the verb form bhunje, and you might know bhunje di lawa, which is to roast or parch something, or as people say in Trinidad, patch it. So when we take that verb form and we turn it into adjective, it becomes a roasted corn. Bhunjal makai.
So, yes, everybody got that one right. Roast corn. By the way, Dr. Bhimull, how would you say boiled corn?
Well, we use the word kaule already, so just like, so is bhunje, right? Then the la form past tense adjective bhunjal. So kaule will become kaulal, which will be boiled. Reason so kaulal makai will be boiled corn.
Which do you prefer?
Honestly, as a child, I like roast corn. But I guess we bought less and I can acquire taste for boiled corn.
Yeah, Punjal Makai is mine. By the way, Vinay, which is your favorite?
Since I've been fasting for Ganesh Utsav, both have been fine for me.
Have to make do, right? But thank you so much, both of you, for another episode of Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and Phrase. As we wrap up, if you'd like to get in touch with Dr. Visham Bhimull of Caribbean Hindustani, here's how you do so.
You could go to the webpage caribbeanhindustani.org and the handles on YouTube, Caribbean Hindustani, and Facebook, Caribbean Hindustani. Same name.
Mm-hmm. And Vinay?
Yes, you can follow me at Cutlass Magazine on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Or feel free to send me a Sundays or message, cutlasspodcast@gmail.com.
All right. So this takes care of another episode. Keep up with us on Facebook and on YouTube. Trinidad Bhojpuri Words and Phrase is a KDC production in collaboration with the Cutlass Magazine and the Caribbean Hindustani.